No competition, no competition. Hi, my name is Brian from Denmark, your tech friend, and let me just start off by calling out that no competition vote. This is a comparison of the Sony Xperia 1 Mark III to the Asus Zenfone 8. And let's just take a listen, because that's when you listen, there's a no competition vote. It is just insane. This little Asus has got this outdoor mode that kicks in when you push the volume up to like a certain level. You can actually see it right here. And then if it goes into yellow, it goes into that ridiculous outdoors mode when this phone just becomes loud. I want to hear it loud, right between the eyes. So that's a no competition call between these two phones in regards to just high volume. But I will also say the sound spectrum on this one is definitely better even at that high volume. And just to be fair, I've set the Dolby Atmos on, and I've also set the DSEE Ultimate Sound Experience on the Sony Xperia 1 Mark III, which upscales compressed music by artificial intelligence technology. So you cannot say that I've not tried to help the Sony Xperia 1 Mark III on that one. But the thing that these two phones do have in common is the Snapdragon 888 CPU, as well as some uncommon form factors. They actually have that in common. Can you say that? You have that in common, that you have uncommon form factors? Well, but this one, of course, has been molded and measured by testing a lot of people, according to Asus, to give you exactly this size of the phone, which is 5.9 inches versus the 6.5 inches on the Sony. But the Sony has this crazy ratio aspect of 21:9, making it a very, very long phone as compared, you can see here, with the Asus. So these two phones, and the reason why you are watching this video, I suspect, is because you are on the lookout for like another fit in your pocket. That's what she said. No, another form factor, and you certainly got it with these two phones. This one comes with 6 GB of internal storage and 128 gigs of memory. The Sony Xperia 1 Mark III actually doubles those numbers to 12 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of internal storage. And you can say, when doubling up, you can also talk about the price at this very same time, because the price is doubled. So I really do think the reason why you're watching this video must be because of the form factors, okay? Because this one is half the price of this, at least here in Denmark. So I suspect one of the questions you're asking yourself is, in what areas can the Asus compete with the Sony Xperia 1? And that's actually a bit of a surprise also, because when you are gaming, this little phone it is like the most insane gaming experience I've had, because playing PUBG on this, when you just pull the volume up, it sounds like everybody is right next to you. It feels like every shot is right next to where you are. It's just an insane experience gaming on this phone. It is so immersive. Whereas this phone that had all the bells and whistles actually just fails, because it becomes very, very hot and not nice to hold in your hand at all when playing PUBG. And I would suspect that also would count for Asphalt and Call of Duty and those kind of titles. If you are a heyday player, this phone will do you well enough. Also the Asus, by the way. So a big win for the Asus also in regards to gaming. A big minus of both of these phones is actually they're very slippery, both of them. Really, really, really slippery. And the case that comes in the box of this Asus, it doesn't help that much. And also the same for the Sony Xperia 1 Mark III. Also very, very slippery, and not a nice phone to handle without any covers. So covers for both of them. In terms of battery life, both of these phones are struggling, but it's actually mostly down to the Snapdragon 888 that consumes a hell of a lot of power and just eats away, especially if you're gaming or doing any sort of like excessive use. Both phones have 120 Hz screen refresh rate, which makes them buttery smooth. Where there is a clear difference between these two phones, and an easy call out winner is in regard to the camera. And can you call it? Okay, so now we're shooting on the back camera 4K with both of the phones. It's the Asus Zenfone on the left and the Xperia 1 Mark III on the right. So I just want to film this. It's always a difficult shot when you have dark indoor and a bright outdoor scenario. Well, actually right here, as I look upon the screen, it looks like the Asus is doing the better job, but we'll have to see that in post. That means when we're editing this. Let's also just go for a walk. We'll check out the stabilization on these phones. How do you think these phones stabilizes? In your opinion, I'm holding these phones handheld. Yeah, of course, it is the Sony Xperia 1 Mark III that has the better cameras. It has the standard camera that opens like the standard camera, then you can press up here, and then you toggle into this. If you know DSLR cameras and stuff, you have this mode and options of various things, auto and other things you can adjust for. And then you have the cinema thingy, pro thingy that only records in landscape. By the way, where you can adjust different things over here. Venice to some other, those are like filters actually. Frame rate from 120 or close to 24 frame rates a second. You can even choose your objective. What objective, like if you had those in physical life. Pretty cool. And you can adjust ISO levels. So all these options that are in the Sony Xperia 1 Mark III are of course miles ahead of the Asus Zenfone 8, and I also think that in real life the results show. So this is a clear win for the Sony Xperia 1. And the last thing I'm going to talk to you about are my hands. And why that is interesting is because I'm a reviewer. I get a lot of phones in my hands, okay? And one thing that I've noticed is that I always test two phones at the same time. What phone does my hand reach out for, like unconsciously? And the thing was, when I did the comparison with these two phones over these last couple of weeks, is that it always, almost always reached out for the Sony Xperia. So if my hands choose on behalf of my brain, or my hands just choose on behalf of like how it fits in my hand, I don't know. But that's up to you to decide. But if my hands were to choose, they will choose the Sony Xperia 1 Mark III. But it also is double the amount of the Asus. And the Asus is such a fun little phone, especially that gaming experience and the extreme loudness of the speakers. Brilliant. So my name is Brian from Denmark, your tech friend, and thank you very much for watching. See you in the next one.